All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to our session on how to use the website and our social media channels at SMC to help with your programs and events and other efforts. I'm Regina Ip, the Web Content and Social Media Manager, and Paul's also here. Paul Trautwein. He's our web coordinator, and we are part of the marketing department. It's separate from the IT department, just to let you know. So I wanted to share with you what are the channels that are available to you where we can help support you. This is the agenda that we're going to follow today. We're going to go over the website, how you can add events on the calendar, and also on web pages while making sure it's accessible. Then we'll go over social media. The two main channels that we use are Facebook and Instagram to share events and other announcements. And then I'll talk a little bit about budget at the end, but basically we have an institutional budget to promote the college campus-wide, and we've worked with several different departments that have their own budget, their own department budget to promote their specific programs, because our budget is institutionally to promote things in general, so we can't promote specific. So if you have something specific you want to promote in a campaign, then we'll need to talk with you more in depth about what you want to do, what parameters there are in social media. So we can have an offline discussion about that. All right, so just to give you an idea of who we are and what we do, like we oversee the website, which is in terms of marketing, and promoting events, it's a calendar in the web pages, social, which is always growing. There's always a new platform coming in or going out. And then we also are on Google and Spotify to promote certain things. All right. And to give you an idea of what managing the website involves, it's a mix of administration, content, and technical responsibilities. So it's a huge undertaking, and I want to share this with you because sometimes people think that we may do things really quickly, or it should be really easy because it's tech. It's actually involving a lot more things in the background. And Paul and I are also very mindful of all of these things going on. So we can't, when we post something, it's not just posting something and publishing it. We think about, like, is it consistent with the brand? Is it accessible? Is it mobile friendly? Is it keeping the student in mind? How it's written? How is it aligned with other efforts at the college? And we're also frequently making edits and troubleshooting and making fixes and trying to improve different aspects of the website. So it's a huge system, and with just the two of us, we're always trying to figure out how to do things better, and we ask for your patience because there's a lot of pieces that are moving and that we keep in mind. So I'm going to have Paul share his screen in a little bit, but I just wanted to give you an overview really quick of what's going to happen. But before that, I want to mention that yesterday, the National Council for Marketing and Public Relations awarded us with first place for the SMC website, and they commended the design and the information architecture for smc.edu. So we're really proud and excited to share that with you. We know that there's still more to work on. The website is a growing document, and we had a survey that went out, and we'll do another one in 6 months and every year after that, just to make sure that we're following the latest trends and also we're aligning with the direction of the college.
Right. And next time someone wants to complain about the website. Let us get our trophy to put next to us before we do.
Okay, so I'm going to stop share and I'm going to ask Paul to show us how to add events on the calendar. And if you have any events you want us to add, feel free to share it in the chat. We can use your event as an example. If not, we'll have Paul do a dummy event. And I'll take a look at the chat while he's.
Let me share my
there's no
screen.
questions. Feel free to ask questions or chime in.
All right. Hopefully everyone is seeing my screen. And
yes.
what we're looking at right now is the SMC homepage. But I wanted to show you a couple things first. We do have a page called How to Add Events, and this is an instructional page. And we also have, for anyone who's been given access to add a calendar event to the website. And we'll go over a little bit about the reasons why we would give you access and, what you would need to do once you have gained access. We do have a video training for adding things to the calendar, but it is pretty extensive. There is a lot of things that you have to keep in mind when you're placing something on the calendar. So before you start asking, make sure that you really need it and that you're willing to put in the work to make sure that your events are going to be working properly. So why don't I just show you a little examples of how the calendar looks on the website, and then so you have a better idea of what it would do for you. So again, we'll start at the home page, and if you scroll down to the bottom of the home page, you will see happening at SMC. Now there's 3 events that are from the calendar that have been identified to be placed right on the SMC homepage. But you can also click the all events, and that will take you to the full calendar itself. So here's the full, I want to show everything. Here's the full calendar, and you'll see that all my categories are checked. These categories have been exhaustively vetted based on what people thought we would need on the website, plus what we're seeing that we need on the website. They've been broken down into academic information, art information, athletics, recreation, lectures, special events, student life and clubs and workshops, and subsections of each one. So if you want to zoom in on a specific category, you can just turn everything off, and then you could turn on the category that you want to see. So if I wanted to see the lectures, there's no lectures there, so I'm going to pick some specific ones. So I'll just start checking these off until I know I'll see something that's going to be there. Maybe I should have picked a different category. Oh, here we go. We're starting to see something happening. So at the end of March, there's going to be a nursing and transfer lecture. Let me go to another month and see if there's something coming up in April. Yep, there's several things happening in April. So you'll see that month by month, you can scroll in and you can see the different things that are listed here. And then when you click on each one, it takes you to a specific detailed page with information, including, we've got a Zoom link button in here. We've got information on, we have a lot of very detailed information within a calendar event. So you'll see that each one has got an image. So, they're all looking the way they do, the way we want them to. Let me show everything again. And you'll see that there's some that might need some adjustments. So let me take a look at this one right here, because this is a really good one. But you'll notice that they've got a couple links on here. They're not very accessible. So if I was to do anything to these, I would sort of adjust these links so that they would be a little bit better accessible link text. And accessibility is a big issue when it comes to website design, because you want to make sure that your content is going to be readable by everyone, not just the people that can see it or the people that can, view it and use their mouse and so forth. So one of the big lowest hanging fruit for making sure that websites are accessible is making sure that your headers are in place, and then also that your links are properly formatted. Now these links will work, they'll be just fine, but using the full URL as a link text is not accessible for someone who's using a screen reader, who cannot visibly see our screen. So they're using a tool that will read it to them. And so when they get to this link, it'll just say link https://ccc conference Zoom. It'll start to read out all these numbers, which doesn't describe what's going on here. I mean, once they get to zoom.us, they may understand it, but better would be join the Zoom meeting for the associate student office hours, that something that's very specific about what's going on here. The same information, for more information, visit this full URL. Maybe say for more information, visit the Associated Students Board webpage, something that's very specific, and have that link rather than the full URL. So those are just two things that, yes. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Before we get into editing the calendar or submitting events, can you show them access? Like, what are the two ways they can add events? It's in the first tab, in your first tab.
Right here.
Either we can create an account for you, or or you can submit an event form. So under submit or add events, it says two options. So you can click submit an event form, and I put the link in our chat, or you can email us, or you could right now you could say in the chat like you would like access, and then I'll set it up while Paul's going through this.
Yes, thank you. All right, so to create an event, I'm not quite done showing you what you can do with this. So back to the regular events page, and then also on a couple other pages throughout the website, we can actually place your events on your page so that you can link directly to them from your department. So it'll show the next 3 events that are coming up within like 3 months. And so within the next 3 months, the dance department's got 2 events coming up. I'm going to jump to the planetarium. They've got an event coming up in the next 3 weeks. So you can place your events onto your pages themselves. So if you've got a category and you've got enough events to merit putting this on your page, then we can help you do that. And again, each one of these will link directly to the event information. And right here, zoom out, and then it links to the page. And this is fairly accessible. So this is a little bit easier to read than the http://www, the full URL. There's also a back to previous page, which will take me right back to where I was. The other thing that they've done is on these pages themselves is they've got a see all, and they will link directly to just the planetarium shows. So this is just the planetarium shows for March. These are the ones coming up for April. They're all basically the same. You might want to change some of these photographs to make it look a little bit more variety, but otherwise, depending on what you got going on, the dance department has done the same thing. So here's their March event. Here's their April event. And they do have a couple events in May, which probably within the next week will start to show up on their homepage, because they're not close enough to the end of May to fit within the window of being seen. All right, so if I wanted to edit and I wanted to add a new calendar event, I would log into Omni Update and do that. So let me log out so you guys can see how I would log in. Get this window out of the way. So it takes me back to the home page. I could log in from my own home pages. At the bottom, there's a little copyright symbol on every page that will take me to the editor. But there's another way to do it. You can go to the faculty and staff section, and in the login area, there is an Omni Update login. And then I would just log in using my credentials and the CMS sign-on. So now I'm in. And in order to add a calendar event, I would go underneath the add-ons, top menu right here. And I would choose the calendar administration. And again, this is what Regina was saying, that we would have to grant you access to this. This is a special thing. Not everybody has it. Not everybody needs it. So we've only given it to a few people that we know are going to be able to add things to the calendar. So I'm signing in with my same credentials. It uses my same SMC credentials. And now I'm in the back end here. And if I wanted to add an event, and by the way, if anyone has an event that they would like to add right now, post it in the chat and we'll see if we can't do that just as a practical demonstration. Otherwise, I'll just make something up.
Terry mentioned art department holiday sale, but she doesn't have the logistical info yet. So we're going to work with her later.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just create just a dummy event. I'm just going to go underneath the events and add an event. And I'll add a title. Let's call this one, who knows, let's see, Flex Day.
Jeanette just, oh, sorry, Janelle just added one. She said SMC Opera.
SMC Opera. Okay, so this is where I'd put my description. I don't need the date right away, but where is it going to be? Is it going to be totally online? Or is it going to be, at the Broad? Let's see, Zoom, from a Zoom meeting. And we'll change, we can make this a little bit more descriptive. But Janelle, if you've got the link, if you've got a link, I'll add a link to it right away. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to skip over cost because nothing we do here is going to cost anything. But we do need an image. Every event needs an image. So I'm going to need to place an image in here. And to do that, I'm going to go into the back end of Omni. And for those of you who will have access, you'll know about this because you'll have done this before. And I'm going to find my images folder in the root. And let's see here. I'm going to go to the calendar folder. And until we have a real image, I'm just going to go into the music and see what we've got available for us. So choral concert, here's an opera one. I can choose this one. This may not be the correct image, but it's resized and ready for us to use. The only thing I need now is I need the full URL for it. To do that, I'm going to go to this ellipsis up here with more actions, and I'm going to view the published image. This gives me the full URL, which I will copy. And I'm going to take it back to my event, and I'm going to paste it here. So this is, if anyone here is familiar with the Omni Update workshop, working process, we never use the full URLs, but in the calendar we do. So it's got to have the full URL here for the event. And once I click off of that, you'll see that the image is automatically placed. So let me see here. I'm looking at Janelle's notes, and she says it's happening on May 24th, 1st and the 25th. So I'm going to start by just saying, picking the day, which is going to be May 21st. And Janelle, do we have a start time? I'm going to say, until she gives me information, I'll just say 7. And operas are usually pretty long, so I'm going to give it a 2-hour time running. 7 p.m., I picked it right. So I'm going to say here it's going to run from 7 to 9, or maybe 9:30. So that's going to be the full time from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then down below here, I'm going to go and choose the sections that I wanted to show up on. So this is a music section. I'm going to also check off the arts so that if someone is just looking for arts in general, they're going to find it there. And it's going to be for music. I don't need to put any of these other ones down. And then down below where it says location, I'm going to choose from this drop-down menu where it's going to be. So if it's a Zoom meeting, I'm going to choose online. And automatically it will just sort of like know all the details about that. Now, if I wanted to choose, the Barrett Art Gallery, I would choose that. We try to anticipate all the different places that there are events before we went online. And of course, now everything is online, but that's what we're choosing. And for the contact info, I'm the one who's entering this, so I'm going to put my name down and my email address. And the reason why I'm doing this and not the person who's requested this and not Janelle's name, for instance, is because if Regina and I need to find out something about what's happening with this event, we can go into the event and find out who added it so that we can go ask the person questions. And then they can tell us, oh, well, Janelle asked me to put it in place. We'll have to go back to Janelle. But if there's a technical issue, it's best that I talk to the person who actually added it. So adding your contact information here is the best bet. And that's it. That's all I need to do. Janelle, we're going to go ahead and post this, and then we can edit it later once we've got more detailed information. So totally online from Zoom meeting and a Facebook Live, those are the correct information as far as I know at the moment. But when Janelle gives me full contact, we'll go ahead and place this. We'll also be able to change this image once she's decided that it's done. So I'll go ahead and save the event. And if you, right now, I can go and view the event in the live public calendar right now. So it's already live. And here it is, the SMC Opera, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. It's online on May 21st. So this is the information, and you can add it to your own calendar. These are the categories that's part of it, arts and music. So if I go to the main calendar and I turn off everything, and then I go to turn on arts, and I turn on music, and I go to May. Let's just click over here till I get to May. These are all the arts departments, and here's our SMC Opera on May 21st. Now, she says it's also on the 25th. So what I would do is I would go into this and I would recycle it, make it again, and then just change the date. So I can make multiple versions of this and then just change the date on it. It would just appear multiple times. But I'm not going to do that until I have the full content, because I don't want to have to go back and edit two places. It's better to just edit once and then make your multiple things. So that's how we would make a calendar event. And again, if your events fit one of these categories, then we can definitely add an event for you. If it doesn't, we have other options for placing your events online that don't involve the calendar, or that may involve the calendar, but you might want to organize them a little differently for your specific page. And for that, I'm going to show you the associate students, departments a lecture series, because a lot of these are several different categories on the calendar, and they have a brochure printed out every year or every semester for these. So we've created a page specifically for them, and we've basically given it every semester we change it, because every semester they have new ones, and you'll see that all their information is listed here for each one of the Asian American and Pacific Islander events are listed here. They've also got this brochure, which we are opening up in a brand new window so that you can see the beautifully designed thing. The reason why we're doing it multiple ways is that, again, for accessibility, we want to make sure that everyone who needs to be able to see this information can see this information. And PDF files, as beautiful as they are, can be really hard for certain people to see or read. So we offered it as an option, but we also place all their content as regular text on the website. And there's a lot of times I'll get someone who's designed a beautiful Photoshop brochure, and they've typed in all their content on in the graphic, and they send it to us and they say, can you post this on our page? It's got all our information on it, and it's beautiful, but it's not accessible because none of that text inside that image can be read by a screen reader, which means that you're already eliminating a portion of your audience who would not be able to read that information. And Regina will tell you that who is it? Is it Google, Regina, that recommends at least 20% of your image be only 20% of your image be text? Who was it that said that? Regina, you're muted.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Can you
who
repeat
was
that?
who was it that said that 20% of your images should only 20%?
Oh, so like for Facebook ads,
Yeah, there you go.
when you submit the visual, they say that it can't have more than 20% text.
Yeah, and I'll take that even further, and I'll say that it probably shouldn't have 0% text. If you're going to place an image, make it an image. Text should be text, and especially for the web. Yeah, so anyone who sends me those beautiful Photoshop files that are just all text, I have to say, yeah, these are beautiful, except I'm going to have to retype all this stuff to put it on the website. So better to talk to us first before you start designing things, and either do it as a PDF file so that we can bring in the content. Just a couple little things that we do on the website that you should be aware of is that for AM and PM, we always use lowercase and we always put periods. The reason why is, again, for screen readers, AM without periods can be read as a word. PM will be split up, but 11:15 to AM to 12:15 PM would read 11:11:15 AM to 12:15 PM, which is clumsy. So we always put the periods because that will actually be read AM rather than AM. And the other thing we do is that we remove the :00 after the on the hour events. So if you're placing dates and times on the web page, we do have an editorial style guide, but in it says don't put the :00. Make sure you're separating the P and the M and the A and the M with periods. And just while we're at it, don't put THs after numbers in your calendar, and after the February 4 rather than February 4th with the TH, or RD after third. So we're just doing the number rather than the little abbreviation thing afterwards. Okay. As I'm seeing it, that is also Associated Press stuff. Very good, Associated Press. We like to follow the Associated Press. So maybe they're doing it like we're doing it. So anyway, any questions about this so far? If not, I'm going to turn it back to Regina so she can, I'm going to turn it back to Regina so she can go into social media stuff. And then at the end, I can go back and if anyone's interested, I can show you how we can edit certain things on the calendar events to make things a little bit more accessible and follow the design a little bit more. Are we okay?
Yeah, I'll share.
Okay,
I'll stop share on yours.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And you can see the slide on social media. This slide is just to show you all the elements that go into planning for social media. We mostly are active on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. On Facebook, it's mostly alumni, some students, and residents, and then Instagram, especially Instagram stories. That's where most of the eyeballs are for our current students and potential students. Twitter is more the general public, especially media, academics, industry folks, and students who have a complaint. We're not using Snapchat as much. Snapchat is kind of phasing out, but I know some high schoolers use it, but for sure they're mostly on TikTok now. So SMC just started a TikTok and we're building content there. I'm just going through the icons at the bottom. On LinkedIn is where we try to promote the college institutionally and then also promote the job opportunities that the Personnel Commission hopes to fill. YouTube, we've been having more videos, so if you're interested in video, make sure that it's captioned in a separate text file. I do have student workers. I have a web assistants, social media assistants, and 2 video editors. So it really depends on your project, their schedule, and your timing. So we need a lot of planning if you're interested in video. But back to the text above, there's a lot of planning that goes involved. Sometimes we have multiple drafts. We're checking in with different departments. We're monitoring the comments, the trends. We also want to make sure it's accessible. So in addition to the captioning, um, making sure that your description and alternative text for the photos are accurate and concise. Um, and then for ad buying, there's a lot of things involved. As I mentioned earlier, we have marketing or the web social media department. We have a budget for promoting things institutional wide. But if you want to promote your specific department, you'll need your own budget, and other departments that have connected with us, like sustainability, um, IXD. I think Jeff is here. They have their own budget, or they've had a grant. I know with sustainability, they had a grant to allocate some funding for this. So I can work with you on planning and the procurement process and give you suggestions, basically like a marketing consult if you need it. And yeah, that's basically it for how social media operates at SMC with me. And Paul is kind of like my fill-in if I'm not available, but he's mostly on working on the website. And then I just wanted to share with you something that we do with Spotify. We try to make sure that we are using student content, because user-generated content is the most effective, because students know their audience, they know how to reach them, what's the best way, what are the, in terms of visuals and messaging. So when we did a Spotify promotion, the video was edited with motion graphics by a film production student, and then I reached out to um, one of our broadcast media students to do the voiceover for the video. Um, of course, Spotify has and Facebook too now. Like, you can create your own videos, and they include um, a voiceover in it if you wanted to ask them to do that, and it's included in part of the ad buying. But because we want to make sure we're true to the SMC student and we're serving SMC students, that we use their content and we ask for their feedback. So I show this to you because this is something that we try to strive for. Sometimes we can't because of time restrictions, but this is ideally how we'd like to move along with promoting events or classes or initiatives. So I'm gonna go over. Oops, sorry, my like a really sensitive mouse. So I'm gonna go over the social media guide, because I get questions pretty often about um, whether someone should start a Facebook or an Instagram, and I usually refer people to this guide. Let me copy and paste it in the chat. Well, we can also send everyone these key links later. So if you're asking these questions about like if social media is the best way to reach your audience, then take a look at this page, because we go over like how, if you really want a channel, then you should be active on it at least twice a week, because it's like a plant. Like, you have to grow it, or else it won't grow itself, and you have to engage with folks. You have to create content. Some of the things that we mentioned earlier, like just the planning and the development for social media to make sure it's effective, it involves a lot of work. So we encourage you to look through this and think about like what are your goals, if social is the right channel, um, and if you have the resources and or longevity to maintain the channel, because sometimes I'll get a request like, "Oh, I can't log in to this Facebook account that was created 7 years ago." And it was because like a student or a past staff or faculty member was editing it and then they left or something happened. So then they didn't um, stay in touch with us to make sure that we are the backup social media person for their channel. So then they create a new channel. So then when a student or anyone who's interested in the program is searching um, a keyword, they see that there's two accounts. So it becomes confusing, and it's hard to gain ownership of these of older accounts. So it becomes kind of messy. So we encourage you to have a long-term plan for your department if you decide to have a channel, because of some of the messiness that I mentioned earlier. So if you do decide to have one, like we have some suggestions and requirements on what you should do for creating a social media presence, making sure that you're using the SMC brand, making sure it's accessible. I'm not going to go too much into detail. You can take a look at it. But if once you do decide to, we give you some instructions on how to name it, how to work with us to get photos. We can add your channel to SMC social media directory. Let me open this so you can take a look at it. We're trying to gather everyone's channels in one place so that students can find information nicely. I hope it's loading. It's my internet. My internet's okay. I don't know. It might be slow right now. Oh, there we go. So these are some of the channels that are currently existing. So if you want to be added here, you can just email us. And then, like I mentioned, like post 2 to 3 times a week, keep it short. Graphics should have less than 20% text. So similar to the web, we try to be consistent on digital platforms, and try to use high quality, engaging, authentic photos. And the best way to grow your audience and to get good engagement is to respond timely to them, and try to work from a customer service oriented point of view, because I've worked with some staff where they, because it's on Facebook or something, they might use their personal account and then make comments from their own perspective versus how SMC would like to um, communicate with students. So keep that in mind. And if you don't want to start an account, you can send us your content or and visuals. And what I usually do is I post it on Instagram stories, because that's where the students are. We're not getting as much traction on the other places. So I'm just going to go in here to show you some of the things that are happening in Instagram stories. Oh, my internet's a little slow. Okay, I need to confirm. Get my code. Oops. Even though the content goes away after 24 hours, it's still where the most um, interaction is happening. So I have really great social media assistants too right now who are helping me with creating graphics. But if you have your own, or if you're working with our marketing department, I would ask them to create social media versions of the visuals so that we can, which is this vertical shape, so that we can put it on Instagram. And we also have the ability to add links, because we have over 10,000 followers. So if you want to keep your visual short, which we recommend, we can tell them to swipe up or tap to go to a web page, and then we can work with you on making sure the web page has accurate, accessible information. And yes, what Jenna said. So for those departments or offices that have created a Instagram account, then if they tag us or if I see it, like I will like it and then I'll reshare to our Instagram. I can't do it from the web app. I have to do this from my mobile device. I also can't upload stories from the web app. What I mean by web app is being in the browser. You have to use the app on your phone. So it's not the most friendly because they want you to be on your phone intentionally. So we'll get messages like from counseling, and they'll tell us, "Hey," or they'll tag us to repost something. So we'll repost it. Any questions about this part of social? If not, I'll go back to our guide and I'll show you. Besides Instagram, Facebook events is um, being more beefed up. Like there, I can tell that like if you have a friend that is interested or has accepted or clicked going to an event, like you get it in your news feed. So we're trying to build. Um, oh, I don't know what some of these requests are, but let me go into the events to show you like what we look for when we're gathering in the content to post. So we're trying to get people to um, sh- share their content and then also get them to click attend. So then their friends see it and then their friends see it. And then they're more likely to attend if they know their friends are going. So I'll click on an existing event. Let's see, let's go with this fantastic fungi event. So this is basically how it looks like. We need the title, the dates, similar to the web calendar. So if you ideally have it done in the web calendar, you can, or you want us to do it, then we can just copy and paste it to Facebook. So I'll just go in here really quick. For this part, I don't usually I'm editing it or a social media assistant is, so you don't have to worry about going here, but I just wanted to show you the back end to see